All right, so we just got back from a trip. I decided to do a little bit of a mileage test on the Tremor. So I haven't really ever hand calculated the mileage towing this camper. I did with some other vehicles and other campers, but never with the Tremor. If you have a Tremor, you probably already know that you've got 35-inch tires. These are I would say very aggressive. They're a very aggressive stock tire, something that comes stock on vehicles. This is a pretty aggressive tire, the Wrangler Duratrax. Most of the F350s come with like Michelins that have more of a road pattern, highway pattern, something like that. These are 35-inch tires. This thing sets up high, it catches a lot of wind. The tires are big, all that stuff. And then put this behind it. It's a recipe for bad mileage. So if you're getting a diesel truck to tow a camper and you think, man, I'm really worried about the mileage, you're probably going down the wrong path, because if you care about mileage, this is not for you. This is not for you either. It's a very expensive game to play, but it's literally worth it. We went to New Orleans this weekend. We were gonna go and take the Tesla, and we were gonna just stop in a couple chargers along the way, maybe probably spend 30 bucks in charging, something like that. And we were gonna stay downtown New Orleans. Well, when we started looking at the hotels that my wife wanted to stay in, they were $500, $600, $700 a night. So I started doing the math. I said, hey, wait a minute, I could buy the diesel, take the camper, we sleep in our own bed, we can stop along the way, we've got our own stuff. And so we actually found an RV park that was in downtown New Orleans called French Quarter RV Park. Highly recommend it if you ever go to New Orleans and are looking for something in, like, I say in, but you have to do some walking, but it's very close to the French Quarter. You can be in Bourbon Street in a few blocks. And so it was a really good place to be. So we did that, even paying for the diesel, even though it doesn't get so good of mileage, way cheaper than we could have stayed in a hotel. And after walking down Canal Street and seeing the sights, so to speak, I was much happier being in our camper than being in a hotel. So you never know. So anyway, yes, there's a lot of upfront cost in a camper. There's a lot of fuel costs, things like that. But if you stay in hotels, those costs can add up quickly too. Plus, like I said, you have all of your stuff in there. So we're gonna cut over to when we left. We actually left in the middle of the night to make a little bit better time and not have to worry about traffic. So we're gonna cut to that, and I'll show you what we did as far as calculating the mileage and what we got. All right, we're gonna do something we don't normally do. We are heading for a weekend trip to New Orleans, and we're gonna leave at night. And so it is about 10 o'clock. We're gonna just drive until we get tired, and then we're gonna pull over and we're gonna boondock somewhere tonight. So getting the camper out of storage, really no prep. We don't have any kids with us this weekend, so we don't need a whole lot of prep. So we're going to hit the road, and we're gonna see how boondocking or parking lot camping is gonna work for us tonight. All right, so we're at our first fuel stop. So we're gonna do a mileage test. And so we are going to fill this thing up. Unfortunately, diesel's $3.99 a gallon here. Maybe it's cheaper where you are, maybe it's more expensive. All right, so what we're gonna do on the mileage test is we're going to put it on the top notch here and let it kick off. And then we're gonna wait about 30 seconds or so and then hold it until it clicks again. And we'll do that the next time we fill up, and it'll be as consistent as we can make it. Obviously, it's not the same place we're gonna fill up. We're headed to New Orleans tonight. And well, we're not gonna make it to New Orleans tonight. We're gonna lay over somewhere in Mississippi and stay the night in the camper. The weather's nice, so we're not gonna need electricity. Probably just open the windows up and it'll be good. So we're gonna go ahead and reset everything. So I reset this when we left, and that's what the computer says we've gotten. We've been 35 miles since we hooked up to the camper, and we've got 11.2 miles average. So that's trip 1. I'm going to do trip 2. I'm going to reset that. So this will be the one that we use for our mileage test. Now we're gonna hand calculate this too. I wanna see what the computer says to see if we get close. All right, so it just clicked off. We're gonna wait 30 seconds. All right, so that's 99.30 already, 24.8 gallons. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna squeeze. All right, so that's it. So that's 25.077 gallons. Not that we need that information because it doesn't matter this time. What will matter is when we fill up next time. All right, guys. So we spent last night in the parking lot of Harlow's Casino and Resort. Resort may be a stretch, but we found a nice little spot over here in the corner. And it was pretty quiet. We got in about 1:30. It's about 6 right now, so traffic's starting to pick up. This is a pretty busy highway. But this was a pretty nice place to stay. They do have security that patrols 24 hours a day. So as far as safety goes, it's a pretty good place. So we are about to hit the road, and we're going to be in New Orleans in about 300 miles. All right, so we are in a very tight spot here. Gonna fill up. Good news is this is like a semi pump, so it's really fast. Got this for $3.32, so that's a lot better. So we pulled into this little place here, and there's only one pump open because they're redoing some concrete. So now we're gonna have to try to get out of here. Pretty sharp turn. So let's see, we're getting pretty close to the end here of the tank. All right, so the tank just stopped. We'll do the same thing, wait 30 seconds. Let's take a look and see what we've got here. So we went 250 miles, and then the trip says we've averaged 10.5 miles a gallon. We'll do it hand calculated and see. Ooh, a little splash there on that one. All right, so almost the same as last time, 25.20 gallons. So let's do a little math here. We went 250.1 miles divided by 25.20. So that comes out to 9.9 miles a gallon. So the trip computer said 10.5, so we're off a little bit on that. So 9.9. For the mileage test, we were going about 65, 67. I don't go much faster than that. I've had more blowouts than I can count. I've got some G-rated tires on here now, and I don't expect to have any blowouts, but I've had 2 blowouts on this camper this year, and so then I upgraded all my tires, and so these would probably be okay going fast, but I'm not in that big a hurry. And the difference between 65 and 75, if you talk about mileage, it will impact your mileage. It will heat up your tires. It could cause a blowout, all that stuff. So plus, you know, I don't like trying to pass people all the time in the camper. So when you set it about 67, especially if it's like a 70 mile per hour, everybody's passing you. You just sit over in the right lane and you just go. And you just set the cruise. You can talk, you can listen to the radio. You don't have to worry about trying to pass people and how far over they are, and it's just a lot easier. It's a little slower, but in my opinion it works out better in the end. So this fifth wheel is a 41.6, say 42 foot Montana. Guessing, I've never weighed it, probably somewhere between 16 and 17,000 pounds. And again, this is a big truck. It's high off the ground, and if you've ever seen other F250s, 350s, you know that valance that comes down right there, it's a lot shorter on the Tremor. So I'm sure that has something to do with wind and mileage and aerodynamics and all that stuff. I can tell you, I have pulled this same camper with an F250, and it got better mileage than this did. But man, this looks so much cooler than that F250 I used to have, right? Got the tires, the wheels, the look, the height, the stance, all that. So again, if you get 9 miles a gallon, if you get 10 miles a gallon, if you get 11 miles a gallon, there's really not that much difference. It really isn't. I mean, unless you're just logging, tens of thousands of miles, every few months, like a hot shot or something like that. But if you're a hot shot, you're not going to get a truck like this anyway. I hope not, anyway. We'll say this is probably maxed out for the Tremor. This is probably as big as you would want to go. Now, I know you'll see people pulling triple axle toy haulers with single rear wheel trucks, but this is probably safety-wise as big as you want to go. So that's the mileage you're going to get. So if that concerns you, you may want to look at something else. Again, a regular F250 or regular F350 probably would get better mileage. It's a little bit more aerodynamic. But it depends on what else you do with your truck. If you like to do other things, we tow a boat, we go camping, we do all sorts of things. A dually, and we've had the dualies, it's good for towing the camper, but it's not that great when you're going down a gravel road or a Forest Service road trying to do some primitive camping. I'm probably going to do a review on the truck soon, so stay tuned, more to come on the Tremor.